If it's a teen or if it's an adult that's listening right now, if their worry right now is that they feel stuck or unsure about their future, what's the first thing you want them to hear after they leave this episode?
There's so many stories in life of people who felt like they've been beaten down, misunderstood, looked down upon. And the moment you can change that, and it just takes one time, and it's like a losing football team. The moment they win one game, now they have a one game winning streak. It's time to change whatever path you're on. If you're not happy with your life right now, then take the course, because it will begin to open the doors and you'll begin to have confidence. And face to face wins the race, and voice to voice is the best choice. Texting DMs only get you so far, but it's ultimately, if you want a business that's booming, focus on the human. You've got to go face to face to win the race.
Hello, Goal Crushers. We are back for another fun episode. And when I say fun, I know I say all my episodes are fun, but this guy is, if you can't tell from his shirt, is the epitome of fun. And I am so excited to introduce you to my friend Derek, who has a lot of great things that he does. But in particular, if you are someone who knows a teen, who is raising a teen, who maybe even a teen yourself, who is struggling with figuring out how to communicate more confidently and effectively, this episode is for you. So let me introduce you to my friend Derek. Hi, Derek.
Hi, Bernadette. Great to see you. And by the way, most importantly, I've got the book of the century right here. My curiosity, didn't Oprah say something about this book, Bernadette? I don't want us to miss that moment again.
You have been one of my nicest, like most kindest supporters on social media. You and I actually met for the first time in FinCon, and
Yeah.
you were so kind to me there. You had provided me a copy of your book as well, which is in my bookshelf over there. I only keep the books that I actually want to keep there.
We like that. We like that.
And there's two things that I noticed about you when we first met. One was that your fashion was fabulous. Like every day you had a cool, different outfit on, and I could spot you from a mile away in the room. So, one, could you share a little bit about what your fashion secret is?
So these are all Robert Graham shirts, and they just have personality. It's like wearing art. And matter of fact, Robert Graham actually is helping sponsor the teen course that we created. They make people look good and make them feel confident, but they want to help teenagers feel confident too. So they actually send you a shirt too, for being so gracious to do this. Look at the back of that shirt. That looks awesome, awesome. So Robert Graham, thank you for that. But what I believe in is that memorable people make the most money, and you want to have an image that stands out, that's inviting. And so what I try to do is match my shirts typically with my Nike Dunks, and that way you're approachable and fun. And you've got to people ask, how do I stand out? Start by how you're dressing and how consistently you have a look, and that's one first step.
I love it. And so you absolutely have that in person. I'm so grateful that we've actually met in person first before we became online friends. And I can attest, I had actually told Derek right before this, I had this shirt packed and ready to go to LA tomorrow because it's so perfect for my LA trip. And I do feel really confident in it. And so the second thing that I observed about you is that you just have this immediate presence about you, that you seem both confident and approachable, which seems to be hard nowadays. I've noticed where a lot of times people, especially like in the creator world or in the personal finance world, can be construed as either confident or approachable, but it's very rare to have both. And before we get into the teen concept, could you share more about you and what your background is and how you were able to create this brand that was both confident and approachable?
Let me go way back. Boy, what you said took me back now. So I'm a junior in high school, and I was struggling. We had moved 6 times before the 6th grade, didn't have a whole lot of close friends, but I had this crazy idea, Bernadette. I was going to run for student body president. Okay. And so I did not come from the gene pool of the popular kids. I was not the best looking kid, didn't have all the contacts, but I just had this goal inside of wanting to do something big. And what happened was I looked around the school and realized I was a nobody with the heart of a somebody, and there was other people just like me. And I had this crazy idea. So back when I was in high school, they had all these different sort of cliques, the rock and roll crowd, the cowboy crowd, the band crowd, the honor roll crowd, and they all hung out in different parts of the school, but nobody really interacted. So the crazy idea, I took a picture of myself and the leader of each of these groups, shaking hands, and I took a quote of them like, hey, let's rock the vote for Derek, or let's make music, vote for Derek. And I put the poster above where everybody hung out. What happened, I didn't even see coming. Everybody felt like they were part of something bigger. And so the day of the election, the microphone crackles and the principal comes on and says, and the winner is Derek Kinney. I got to tell you, Bernadette, it wasn't me that won that day. It was all of us because everybody felt seen and heard and valued and part of something bigger. And that simple lesson is what has led me to be what many people say very successful in business is, Derek, you're approachable, you're genuine. And I just think back to I was a shy kid, and if I can help other people feel valued and important, they'll want to work with me and do business with me. I feel good, they feel good, and it's a win win. So that's how it all started, as simple as that.
I love that. As someone who ran for student council and did not win, I'm very impressed by your marketing strategy. And that's a great marketing strategy. The best marketing strategy, in my opinion, is going human to human and actually talking to real life human. I'm really excited because you created this new thing, Simple Teen Success. So what is that and why now? Why in 2025? You're talking about yourself back when you were in junior high, and so now we're in 2025. Why is that experience now coming back to the forefront for you in this point in your life?
Yeah, so I've always had a passion for investing in young people. And so when I was a senior in high school, I was thinking back, nobody successful ever came back and gave us a glimpse of what our future could look like. They always said, take math and science and history and your life's going to be fine. All of us knew they were selling us a lie, if you will, selling us this bill of goods. I would have loved to have had somebody successful come back. And so I began to go back to my local high school. And that then led me to launch a business. We called it the Business Club at my kids' school. And so I would teach them how to look people in the eye, how to shake hands, how to have conversation that opens doors with people. And so we did this for 10 years. And recently, those students have now, they graduated high school, they've gone on to college or into life, they've got married, bought their house, and they've come back to me and said, hey, Mr. Kinney, it was good, but what you taught us really worked. Like when you taught us how to say to someone when we meet them for the first time, hey, it is so nice to see you, and don't say nice to meet you, it avoided embarrassment and made them feel like they knew everybody. Or when you taught us like literally what eye to look into, so it made us look more empathetic, that opened up a door, or what to say to somebody for the interview or the job. And so what I did is I just took all the things that these teenagers said actually work, these young adults now, and we put it into this course. And what I find is so many adults criticize teenagers. For example, I was speaking to a group last week, and I said, hey, what do you feel like adults think of you? These were seniors in high school. Oh, they think we're selfish, we're self centered, we don't listen, we're always on our phone. And I said, do you feel like that's true? And they all said, no, they don't know us. And I said, we have a problem then. If adults think one way and you don't think they're thinking the right way, then you have an opportunity to solve a big problem. And that is, if you know how to approach adults and confidently talk to them, that's going to open a door where you're going to be in rare air, or opportunities for the internship, or hey, can you come stay at our house while we go on vacation to keep an eye on things, or here's an opportunity. You're going to be on the short list of amazing teenagers that gets doors wide open. So if you follow these principles, that's what teens are doing, and it actually works really well.
I love that so much. And I actually previewed your course. I personally work with so many adults who, one, struggle with those things as adults, not even as teens, but also who are raising teens in a much different environment than you grew up in, than I grew up in. And so, specifically, as someone who doesn't have kids myself, I'm curious, what are the biggest challenges that you think teens are facing today that this guide is going to help them overcome versus just the things that they're already learning in school or what they're learning on social media? Like, why this course and what challenges does it specifically address? What is up, y'all? I am Bernadette Joy, your money mentor and the founder and author of Crush Your Money Goals. And if you are here, it's probably because you are tired of being burned out and stressed out by your money situation, whether it is not having enough savings, not getting paid enough, not having enough in retirement. And so if you are tired of being tired, you're in the right place, because I created a new resource guide for you. It's absolutely free, and you can go in there and find all the
with 25 different tools and resources. And you can find videos to watch, books to read, podcasts to listen to, articles, and so much more to help you on your money journey so you can stop being so stressed out and enjoy life instead. If you want to learn more, you can go ahead and sign up in the links on this page, and you'll immediately get access to the free guide so that you can start your money journey today.
First of all, it gives teenagers a playbook. Let's say, for example, that a teenager is about to walk into Target or Costco or Best Buy, and they walk into the store, and from a distance, they can see their friends' parents, but the friends' parents don't see them yet. They've got this decision to make. Okay, so I ask this question to teens all around the country as I talk to them. 80% of them, when I give them the choice of either, will you confidently walk up and say, hi, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, it is so nice to see you, or are you going to dip over into the chip aisle and hope they don't see you? 90% dip into the chip aisle. And it's really no fault of their own. They just don't know what to do. They don't want to feel embarrassed. And so one of the things that we've done is we've given these teenagers a simple playbook of what to say and what to do so they stand out. And so we'll talk about just simply walk up and say, hi, Mrs. So, it is so nice to see you. And then the adult will say something back. But the way to stand out, the game that we're playing is how do we teach these teenagers to stand out and be memorable? And oftentimes adults will say, how's school going? And you can see the eyes roll like, school's okay. And I teach the teenagers, always have something that you are excited about. Have something. I've got this class I'm taking that I'm real excited about. I've got this new part-time job I'm real excited about. Or there's a cause I'm giving to right now that I'm real excited about. No teenager is ever excited about anything.
That's true.
So when you say that, you automatically stand out and you go into the secret club in all of our brains. And when teenagers approach us and we view them that we like them, know them, and trust them, and they approach us and respect us, we keep this list of teenagers' names in our heads. And so when we have these conversations with other adults, hey, do you know somebody that could do this or this? You want to be on that list because adults are the doorway to teenagers' opportunities. Your principal, your teachers, your parents. One of the things that we teach the teens, and this was one of the things that parents have said, this may be worth the whole price of the course, which is pretty inexpensive, by the way. But we teach the teenagers that tell your parents, hey, could we meet on Saturday morning for 30 minutes so I can review my calendar with you so that you know what's going on? Parents are like, heart palpitations, getting rushed to the ER. They have, my gosh, I can't believe my teenager wants to include me in their calendar because parents desperately want to be included in their teenagers' lives. And when you do that, you're building trust with your parents, that frontline adult. And then if the opportunity comes up, or maybe you need the extra curfew or the opportunity, they see you having included them and even asking this bonus question to your parents, hey, of all the things you want me to do around the house this week, what is the one chore you definitely want to make sure that I get done for you? Now you're actually helping around the house. And these are simple things that no teenager does, but when you do them, opportunities begin to come your way.
Can you teach that same habit to my husband, please? That would be nice. I think you could make the ancillary, the next version of this course, Husband's Guide to Successful Communication.
That's great. I love it.
I love that so much. One of the things that you talk about, which I love, this idea of turning like setbacks into setups.
Yeah.
So, can you share maybe a story from one of the teens that you interviewed or a personal story that illustrates what a setback might look like and how you actually turn it into both mindset and in practicality into a setup?
One of the things that teens often think about is if I can't communicate perfectly, well, then I'm just going to keep looking at my phone and not communicate at all. And one of the things that we find is when teens are honest about something and say, I'm struggling with this right now, I'm working on how to be a better communicator, then adults want to come alongside them and help. You know, one of the things that one teenager shared with me, her sister played a lot of volleyball games. And so she was stuck in the stands a lot, and mom and dad would be running around and she'd be in the stands, and typically a random adult would sit next to her. And she would just stare straight ahead for 2 hours, looking over here, the person not talking to me, I'm not going to talk to them, and missing out on possible opportunities. But one day she took a risk And we had given her some questions and we said, hey, just try this and just see what happens. I said, the next person's this next. You say to them, hey, by the way, who are you here to see? And the person said, oh, it's my granddaughter. Oh, what number is she? Oh, really? How long has she played volleyball? Now a conversation is actually broken out in real time. And the next question is, are you from this area? No, I was born in Boston. Now they're telling you more about themselves. A conversation is happening. And then the bonus question is, hey, I know this is not sound crazy, but what is something you're doing right now that you're super passionate about? Well, now you go into the deep end of the pool and somebody shares, oh, I love to look and watch movies or play pickleball or this kind of stuff. Now you've had a dialogue with this person. It might have lasted 5 minutes, maybe 20 minutes, but you're probably going to see that same person all season. Now you have a friend. What happened was this person actually ended up giving her an internship later on that summer because of a casual conversation, a risk she took simply asking questions. And one of the biggest mistakes that people make, Bernadette, is they assume that adults have their act together. They,
I
they
laugh.
assume,
I laugh because you and I
right?
both know that is totally
No.
false.
They assume
Yeah.
that adults are master communicators. And here's what I find as I talk to adults. Oftentimes, the adults are more intimidated by what to say to the teens than the teens are intimidated by the adults. And so, if you wait for the adult to take the first move, you're going to lose. So, the teenager who feels confident, even just leaning in and takes that first step, opportunity often comes their way.
I love it. A couple of years ago, I was sponsoring some scholarships for the Young Black Leadership Alliance. And I normally don't accept just like random podcast interview requests or someone that I haven't really met before. But one of these teens just walked straight up to me and he said, thank you so much for supporting our organization. I'm really grateful for what you've done. I read up on you online and I want to launch my podcast and I would be really honored if you would be one of my first guests. And aside from the content of what he said, if you could just imagine this just like posture and confidence coming out of this kid's voice. And I'm thinking, how old are you? And I said, how old are you? And he said, I'm 17. I was just like, most adults won't come up to me this way. And so I said, yes. I said yes immediately because whenever you see someone, in my opinion, especially a young person, whenever you see a young person really putting their best foot forward and being brave like that, you want to see them win. And so I love that you are sharing this playbook because I have I have personally seen where you're absolutely right. I think a lot of adults, myself included, sometimes we have these preconceived notions of what kids are today in today's world. But we also have to give them credit that there's a lot of different things that they're experiencing that we didn't have to when we were growing up. And they're navigating those things too.
Well, what you said is so spot on. And I like to say teens with a plan have a superpower. When you see a teenager who is struggling but they've got a plan, they're working hard, you can't help but want to support them. So I'll tell you a quick story. I had a senior in our local high school take me to coffee about a year ago. And I was walking him through how to have a plan and create some goals for himself. And he said, Mr. Kinney, what I really want to do is go into commercial real estate. I want to buy and sell.
Wait, how old is
And so
this person?
he's a senior in high school, very entrepreneurially minded.
Wow. I'm so impressed. I'm sorry. Continue. I'm just like, wow.
The story gets a lot better. So we help him craft his plan. And so now I know he wants to go into commercial real estate. So as we're leaving the coffee shop, in walks a man named Philip, who I'd forgotten about, but he's a friend, and he's one of the leading commercial real estate brokers in all of Arlington. And in that moment, literally the door is still open. I got to introduce him
Amazing.
to Philip in that moment. Only because as an adult, I knew what this teenager's plan was, and I wanted to help this person because of how I saw them pursuing their goals. So when you can talk about, and I tell teenagers this a lot, you don't have to be perfect, but always have a plan. Hey, here's my plan. I want to go and launch a business. Doesn't even matter what business you want to launch, just the fact that you say, here's my plan, and the confidence. People purchase passion. When adults hear a teenager with confidence, they can't help but want to dive in and do all they can to help.
That is so true. I love that phrase. People purchase passion. And I've seen that time and time and again, even as an adult and as an entrepreneur, of that sometimes the most successful businesses aren't the ones with the best product or the ones that have the most buttoned up plan. It's the people with the most confidence that are articulating the plan. And I can even say this as someone who coaches a lot of people in their businesses. There's a lot of people who keep their plans in their heads and they don't say it out loud, right? So teaching this skill very early on, those teenagers are going to have leaps and bounds ahead of the average person just by being able to put together a plan and then being able to actually communicate the plan. And then when you communicate the plan, you have a higher success of executing the plan because you have other people who want to come and help you. So I love that so much. And so that was a great story. You actually segued into my last question here. Was I know that you work with a lot of other leaders and entrepreneurs and other people who are influential in the business field. So what lessons have you been taking from other leaders into this course or into this program, aside from your own personal experiences, that you think are going to be beneficial to the people taking the course?
Yeah, I'll share a story with you that I think about a lot. So I interviewed on my podcast a guy named Mark Randolph, who is the co-founder of Netflix. Okay. So he's telling me the story about his son loved to skateboard. And if you can picture these big cement bowls where the skateboarders dip into and do all the tricks and stuff. And he talked about how when most people get to the edge on their skateboard, they look down and then they tend to take their feet and they move backwards on the board as if to think standing back will help me not fall. And what he said is most often everybody falls because when they lean back or they're tentative, that's what causes the accident. He said you want to get up to the very close of the lip and you want to face that 1 to 3 seconds of fear. When you go
Mm.
into fear, you rarely ever fall. And it's such a beautiful example for this course. So many of us, I feel the same way when I'm about to have a critical, high stakes conversation. I still feel the butterflies. I still feel my blood pressure go up. But it's in that moment I think about how do I like to just call it communicating like a brisket. In Texas, we cook brisket low and slow.
Oh, yeah.
Moments of high pressure, you want to take your voice and go low, a little bit lower, and talk a little bit slower. And you want to lean into that fear, just like you're on that board about to dip in. Just lean in. I'm going into this knowing that few other people do it. And just by doing that, often you get rewarded by the adult you're communicating with. Even if you're not perfect, just by walking up and saying, "Hi, Mr. Miss, it's so nice to see you," you've at least opened the door. But if you never ever say that, that door will always stay closed and you'll never ever know what could have happened or been behind that door.
What a great way to wrap up this interview. I'm so appreciative of the work that you're doing in this space because I know that with your talents and your network and the level of influence that you have, that you could be choosing to do a lot of different things. And so the fact that you are specifically choosing this particular initiative to run with is inspiring for me. I need to get back out there and get back into more of this community type of work. So thank you for inspiring me today. If people want to learn more about this program, how can they reach you and how can they find out how to sign up?
Yeah, simply go to simpleteensuccess.com. It's an online video course, so perfect for the summer, but anytime your teen can watch one episode. They're like 4 to 15 minutes each. We know the teen attention span. Teens tell us some of them watch one at a time, some like to binge watch the whole thing, but it's fun. And what you want to do as a parent, you want to give your teen kind of an incentive. You want to say, look, if you don't have to do the whole thing, just try it. Some parents will actually say, you know what, as a reward for taking the course, I will do your least favorite chore for you. Or some say, I'll give you a $20 coffee gift card when you finish this. Just tell me your top 3 takeaways and off you go. So the key is everybody wants to be the cool parent, but the good news is this course is cool. Teens really like it. It's typically $297, but right now it's only $97.
I'm
And
sorry, wait, what?
yeah,
$97?
$97. 97. Plus, we've got a free bonus course,
Wow.
5 steps to ace any interview. So if your teen is about to do scholarship applications or apply for the part-time job, they want to get picked for the team. It tells them what to say, what to do, so opportunities come to you. So Simple Teen Success is the website.
I love that. And I was like, $97, that feels like a no-brainer to me in the sense of, so for those of you who've been following me for a long time, y'all know that I implement what I call the dollar rule, which is to say, if you're going to buy something, make sure it comes out to $1 per use. And the use cases for what your teen is going to learn on this is going to be thousands of uses. Think about how many times you have to interact with adults in kind of these high stakes situations, and think about that teenager who's going to be able to use these lessons, not just for the next year or 2 years, but for the rest of their lives. To me, that's like such a clear example of where the dollar use can come into play here. I'm a little bit floored right now on how much value there is in that. So that is amazing. We'll put the links in the show notes here below. And if you have any questions, you can absolutely feel free to reach out to my team and we can make sure your questions get to the right person. Derek, thank you so much for taking time with me.
My pleasure. Good. Thanks for writing such a great book, Bernadette. I'd be remiss if I didn't up here.
You're the best hype man ever. I feel like we would be a really good like rap duo, you and I.
I had one more thing super quick.
Yeah.
What impressed me the most, I told Bernadette this, what impressed me the most at FinCon, she was the MC of this entire event, big event, and I've never had an MC do what I'm about to tell you. She talked about the concerns and the fears and the worries all of the audience members had. And she normalized it. She was like, how many of you feel nervous about being here? How many of you feel worried about networking and feeling like you may embarrass yourself? Hands go up all over the room. What she did is she addressed the pain people were feeling. And it was like, oh my gosh, the pain was called out. Therefore, it dissipated. It went away. So I've never seen anybody do that before, but I've used what she's talked about. I speak all over the country. Now I'm much more relatable in terms of thinking about what is the audience worried about right now. And in this case, parents are worried about their teenagers, but at that event, people worried about how do I not make a fool of myself? How do I connect? How do I do these business deals? You just gave people confidence that day, Bernadette, that made a lasting impact on me. So thank you for that.
I'm blushing. I'm getting like hot right now. Thank you.
Me too.
That means a lot coming from you. And so I'll ask you this. If it's a teen or if it's an adult that's listening right now, because you have a lot of words of wisdom, if they're currently today, if their worry right now is that they feel stuck or unsure about their future, what's the first thing you want them to hear after they leave this episode?
I would just tell you that if it is to be, it is up to me. And I will just tell you, there's so many stories in life of people who felt like they've been beaten down, misunderstood, looked down upon. And the moment you can change that, and it just takes one time, it's like a losing football team. The moment they win one game, now they have a one-game winning streak. It's time to change whatever path you're on. If you're not happy with your life right now, then take the course, because it will begin to open the doors and you'll begin to have confidence. And as we know, face to face wins the race, and voice to voice is the best choice. Texting DMs only get you so far, but it's ultimately, as I like to say to my entrepreneurs, if you want a business that's booming, focus on the human. You've got to go face to face to win the race.
I love it. You're like a much cooler and up to date version of Dr. Seuss. I love it. So,
I'm going to steal that quote.
please do. You can put that in quotes on your website. So I am so appreciative of you taking the time. For those of you who are listening to this episode, if you got all the way to the end of this, please make sure that you hit the subscribe button and like this one so that we know that this is content that you want to hear. And please leave us a comment. What is one thing that you took away from this interview that either you're going to pass on to the teen in your life, or if you're an adult, how are you going to use this yourself? So thank you so much for listening. We'll see you next time. Bye.